What you are about to hear could change your perspective on life and death. They don't want you to know this. Skeptics try to hide it. Science refuses to admit it, but various spiritual traditions and accounts of supernatural experiences reveal a terrifying secret. The first 40 days after death are a journey that can define the fate of the soul. If you believe that life continues after the final breath, then this video is for you. Have you ever wondered what happens to those who have passed? Where do their souls go? What do they feel? What do they see? Get ready to discover one of humanity's greatest mysteries. There are impressive records of people who had near-death experiences, spiritual visions, and inexplicable contacts with deceased loved ones during the first 40 days after death. And the most shocking part, many of these accounts align with ancient sacred writings and spiritual traditions. What really happens to the dead in the first 40 days? It's unbelievable. Watch this video until the end, and I promise you won't regret it. And more. I have an incredible gift for you at the end of the video, something that will help you understand this mystery even more deeply. Now tell me, where in the world are you watching this video from? Comment below. I'll try to respond to everyone. And a special request, if you've ever had a supernatural experience, felt the presence of someone who has passed, or lived through something you couldn't explain, share it in the comments. I want to read your story. Buckle up, because what comes next will surprise you. The moment of death and the separation of the soul. The final moment of life is one of the most mysterious and intriguing moments of human existence. For centuries, religions, spiritualists, and even scientists have tried to understand what truly happens when the heart stops beating. But there is something that skeptics don't want to admit. Thousands of people who have had near-death experiences report the same sensations, the same events, the same revelations. Many describe the exact moment when the physical body fades away, but the consciousness remains alive. The most common feeling is one of profound relief, as if a great burden has been instantly lifted. Pain disappears, fear dissolves, and a strange lightness emerges, as if they were floating in the air. Then, one of the most remarkable reports. Many of these people say they can see their own lifeless bodies, as if they were watching everything from above. They see doctors trying to resuscitate them, family members crying around them, but they feel no fear or distress. On the contrary, there is a state of absolute calm, an indescribable peace. But what happens next is even more unsettling. Some say they are drawn to an intense and welcoming light, while others claim to have been received by mysterious figures. Spirits, angels, loved ones who have already passed. Could these encounters be just creations of the mind, or revelations of a reality that goes beyond human understanding? And there is something even more shocking. Many describe that in that moment, a kind of life review happens before their eyes, as if every moment lived is displayed in a rapid sequence, allowing them to feel the consequences of their actions, both good and bad, on their own skin. Are these experiences just hallucinations, or could they be concrete evidence that consciousness survives the death of the physical body? What comes next could change everything you believe about life and death. The first 9 days, the soul's initial journey. What happens right after death? This is a question that has intrigued humanity for millennia. But what is most striking is that in various cultures and religions, the accounts of the first 9 days after death share disturbing similarities. According to ancient spiritual beliefs, the soul does not immediately detach from the world of the living. It remains close, often unaware that it has already left its physical body. This is a crucial period where the consciousness of the deceased is still linked to their earthly life, observing everything around them. Many spiritual accounts claim that in the first few days, the soul visits familiar places, such as its own home, the room where it used to sleep, and places where it lived significant moments. It sees its loved ones crying, suffering, but cannot interact with them. Some spirits try to communicate but realize they are not heard. This experience can lead to confusion and even despair. However, there is something even more remarkable, the phenomenon of the life review. Many believe that during this period, the soul relives every moment of its existence as if watching a movie. But there is a disturbing detail. It doesn't just remember what it did, but feels the impact of its actions on others. If it caused someone pain, it feels that pain. If it helps someone, it feels that person's gratitude and love. It is at this moment that the soul begins to understand the true weight of its choices. Many traditions claim that spiritual entities or guides accompany this process, helping the soul understand its journey. But then what happens? What comes next when these 9 days come to an end? What follows may completely change your perspective on what lies beyond death. The 40-day period, transition and judgment. The first days after death are just the beginning, but there is an even more enigmatic and decisive period, the 40 days that follow the soul's departure. In various spiritual traditions, this interval is seen as a true spiritual test where the soul faces its choices and moves toward its final destiny. What really happens during these 40 days? Accounts from Spiritism, Buddhism, and Christianity point to something surprising. The soul goes through different stages before it is fully freed from the earthly plane. In Orthodox Christianity, it is believed that during the first 40 days, the soul is guided by angels and has the chance to witness both heaven and hell before being judged. In Tibetan Buddhism, there is a concept known as bardo, an intermediate state where the soul faces visions and spiritual tests that will determine its rebirth. In Spiritism, there are discussions about learning periods, where spirits can visit spiritual places, reunite with loved ones, and even realize the consequences of their actions on earth. But there is something even more intriguing. Could the soul's journey after death be influenced? Many believe so. Prayers, tributes, and even specific rituals can help the soul find peace and follow its path. In several cultures, there is a tradition of holding ceremonies on the 9th and the 40th day after death as a way to guide the spirit and provide a smoother transition. Impressive reports suggest that in some cases, souls that were suffering or trapped in the earthly plane were finally able to rest, thanks to the prayers and love of those who remained. If all of this is true, could the way we live determine our fate beyond death? The answer may be closer than you think. Contact with the living, signs from beyond. What if I told you that the dead might still be around in the first 40 days after death? Many people report inexplicable events during this period. Objects moving on their own, strange sensations of presence in the environment, intense dreams, and even mysterious messages. Could they just be coincidences or signs that souls are trying to communicate? Numerous accounts throughout history show that something truly happens. Some people claim to smell a familiar fragrance in the air, hear voices whispering their names, or even see shadows in their homes. In many cultures, it's believed that souls remain close to the living for a time, trying to say goodbye or deliver a final message. But not everyone is able to notice these signs. Dreams are one of the most common means of contact. Many people who have lost loved ones report incredibly real dream encounters where they receive advice, warnings, or even requests for help. But could this just be a reflection of grief or a true channel between worlds? It's no wonder that various traditions teach the importance of lighting candles, offering prayers, and sending positive energy to those who have passed. They say this helps the soul move forward, preventing it from getting trapped in the earthly plane. In some beliefs, when a candle flickers or burns differently, it may mean the spirit is nearby, trying to manifest. Could we be ignoring signs that are right in front of us? Are those who have passed trying to tell us something? If you've ever had an experience like this, leave a comment below. I'd love to know if more people feel this inexplicable presence. The last days, the destiny of the soul. And so, we reach the end of the 40 days. What happens next? Does the soul find its final destiny during this time? Or is this just the beginning of a new journey, taking the soul to a completely different place? After this period of transition, various beliefs offer different answers. In Christianity, the concept of the final judgment is discussed, a moment when souls will be separated into those who reach eternal life and those who go to eternal suffering. In Eastern philosophies, such as Buddhism, the view is different. The 40 days may just be preparation for a new cycle of reincarnation. This means that the soul, after undergoing this period of evaluation, could return to Earth in another body to learn lessons that were not understood in the previous life. But then, what about eternal life? What really happens to the soul after this transition? Does the soul go to a place of infinite peace, as many describe when speaking of heaven, or is the concept of reincarnation what truly determines the eternal destiny? Additionally, mediums and people who claim to have received messages from the beyond continue to report surprising experiences. Some say they've been contacted by departed loved ones, receiving messages of comfort, warnings, and even guidance about what's to come. These accounts raise a deep question. Do souls really transmit messages from the afterlife to those who are still alive? What do these revelations teach us about what happens after the 40 days are over? What are the souls trying to tell us? Is the journey of the soul a straight line, or, as many believe, a journey full of twists, mysteries, and unexpected destinations? Now the question is, do you believe the soul has a predetermined destiny? Or does the journey continue in an eternal cycle of learning and evolution? Now imagine this. If everything we've discussed so far is true, if the soul really goes through all these phases after death, then the big question is, how should we live our lives now? Do our choices have a profound impact on what awaits us beyond death? Or is it possible that in some way we are being observed not only by the living, but also by the souls that have departed? This is the reflection you should carry with you after watching this video. What would you do differently, knowing that the soul's journey might not end with death? I want to hear your opinion. I want you to share your experiences. Have you ever had any contact with the supernatural, or felt the presence of someone who has passed? Leave it in the comments, because I'm eager to read everything. And if you know someone who's had an extraordinary experience, share this video with them, so we can continue this discussion and explore the greatest mysteries of human existence. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because we're going to keep unraveling the greatest secrets the universe has to offer. Stay tuned, because the mystery is just beginning.